Thanks, Sophie. You're watching Wales Today. I'm Lucy Owen. The headlines. An electric bike travelling at speed without lights slammed into Sam Bevan, knocking him unconscious. The rider then fled the scene, leaving him in the road.
They were telling me I couldn't drive for 6 months. I'm going to have a test on my heart and my brain. And obviously just a bit overwhelmed then at that point.
Sam is sharing his story to warn of the dangers of misusing electric bikes. Also tonight, a man accused of stealing Bronze Age gold jewellery from St Fagans National Museum of History denies burglary in court.
Hello, we'll have the latest on plans to cut the number of professional rugby sides, as one region says it walked out on a meeting with the Welsh Rugby Union. And
I don't believe in perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I haven't met one who is. But as a performance-wise, it was as close as we could have hoped for to that.
And parts of the country woke up to snow and ice this morning. Derek will be here to tell us whether we need to brace ourselves for more. Good evening, Noswaith. It was a shocking moment, which Sam Bevan wants to act as a warning to others of the dangers of electric bikes. He was crossing a street in Newport when he was knocked unconscious by one travelling at speed in the wrong direction down a one-way road at night without lights. The rider then fled the scene. Gwent police are investigating after the entire incident was caught on CCTV. A warning, Nellie Bird's report contains a distressing video.
Watching it again now, it still doesn't seem like that's me.
Sam Bevan is still trying to make sense of what happened to him last week. He wants you to see it to raise awareness of the dangers of electric bikes. But a warning, you may find it upsetting. This is Sam in white, getting something out of his boot. Look to the right, a bike comes. Sam is hit to the floor. And the rider drives off. Sam stays on the floor for 5 minutes before he wakes up.
Scrapes, bit of a bang, fair bit of blood. But yeah, at the time it was more just confusion really, just thinking, have I fallen over? Doubting myself.
Sam went to hospital with no memory of what happened, with the doctors also mystified.
They were telling me I couldn't drive for 6 months. I'm going to have a test on my heart and my brain. And obviously just a bit overwhelmed then at that point, because my stepfather was asking me my son's birthday and I couldn't remember. Got slightly upset at that.
It was 2 days later when exactly what happened became clear and the CCTV was found.
Being left in the road for 5 minutes, face down, was I okay? Was I seriously hurt? And obviously no one was aware of it at the time. So I think that's probably, it's annoyed me a little bit, the disrespect of not being humane, I call it really, and checking in on someone.
Gwent police say they're investigating. The speed the bike reaches and the fact it moves without pedalling means it's likely to be an illegal bike, more like a motorbike. Here's how you know. To be legal, an e-bike's motor must be activated by pedals. It shouldn't have a throttle, and the motor's output shouldn't exceed 250 watts, meaning it won't work if you go over 15.5 miles per hour. These are some of the illegal bikes and scooters that Cardiff Council and South Wales Police have seized as they try and crack down on the problem of MPVs or mechanically propelled vehicles. Since August, they've destroyed 252, and they get more every week.
We've had extreme cases where they've been capable of doing speeds in excess of 140 miles an hour, recorded. The issue you've got is the weight of these MPVs is triple the weight of a normal pedal cycle. If it hits you or a child or an elderly member of the public, it's going to cause some serious damage.
Back in Newport, Sam hopes his experience will warn others to think about the potential dangers of illegal e-bikes.
I imagine they're going to be on many Christmas lists this year. And I just hope people seeing this accident and seeing this interview will take a second guess at buying them for their kids at Christmas.
Sam can't work for a month, but the cuts and bruises are fading. The footage of what happened shows he's lucky his injuries weren't worse.
Nellie Bird with that report. A man accused of stealing Bronze Age gold jewellery from St Fagans National Museum of History in Cardiff has appeared in court and denied burglary. The museum was targeted last month and what have been described as irreplaceable items are still missing. Well, David Grundy has been following this and he joins us now from the newsroom. So, David, at least one person is going to stand trial.
Yeah, that's right, Lucy. Now, this relates to events in the very early hours of the 6th of October when a number of Bronze Age gold jewellery pieces were stolen from the St Fagans Museum of National History. Now, the items were taken from the main building and they include 4 Middle Bronze Age gold armlets from Llanwrthyl Powys and an early Bronze Age gold lunula from Llanllyfni in Gwynedd. The items have been described as an invaluable and irreplaceable part of Wales's history, heritage and culture. Now, this morning, 43-year-old Gavin Burnett, who's from Northampton, pleaded not guilty to a charge of burglary. He also pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit burglary, conspiracy to steal and making a threat to kill.
But David, Gavin Burnett isn't the only one who's been charged.
He's not, no. 50-year-old Darren Burnett, who's also from Northampton, also appeared via video link for the 25-minute-long hearing. He wasn't asked to enter any pleas today. He's expected to do that at the next hearing on the 11th of December. Now, both men were remanded into custody and they're expected to stand trial in the spring. Meanwhile, South Wales Police, well, they say their investigation and attempts to recover those missing items, well, they're both ongoing.
OK, David, thank you very much for that update. David Grundy there. People in Monmouthshire who were affected by flooding caused by Storm Claudia will be able to receive financial support. The Welsh Government has confirmed grants of £1,000 and £500 per home are available. Council tax reductions will also be implemented for those impacted. People are being asked to contact Monmouthshire County Council. Around 6,000 healthcare support workers in Wales will receive a pay increase after an agreement between the Welsh Government, unions and NHS employers. It follows concerns from staff that they were carrying out responsibilities beyond their job description without being paid extra. The Royal College of Nursing says eligible staff will have their pay backdated and job descriptions updated. Reforms-only Senedd member Laura Ann Jones is facing a 2-week suspension for using a racial slur to describe Chinese people. Members of the Senedd will consider the sanction later this evening. It was recommended by the Standards Committee, who said offensive comments have no place in the Senedd or in society. Well, our political editor Gareth Lewis is in the Senedd. Gareth, what is going to happen later?
Yes, so Senedd members are about to consider it, Lucy. It follows a recommendation by the Senedd Standards Committee after an investigation by the Standards Commissioner, Douglas Bain. We're expecting this to start just after 7 o'clock. Now, there won't necessarily be a vote on this because if no one objects to the recommendation, then it'll go through on what's known as on a nod, so there won't be a vote. Now, if the Senedd does go with this recommendation, then it would be a 2-week ban, as you say, and it would last until midnight on the 3rd of December without pay.
What did the Commissioner's investigation find, Gareth?
Yeah, it found that Laura Ann Jones had broken the code of conduct for Senedd members. In other words, the rules of behaviour that they have to abide by using a racial slur to describe Chinese people in a WhatsApp chat. It also found that she failed to address discriminatory behaviour in a group chat on the messaging app. The same investigation, Lucy, found that she had not made fraudulent claims on mileage expenses. Now, Laura Ann Jones only defected from the Conservatives to Reform back in July. She was a Conservative MS at the time of these allegations, but almost 4 months to the day since gaining her, Reform is now facing up to the prospect of losing her, at least from Senedd proceedings, for the next 2 weeks.
I know you'll bring us an update on this later on, but for now, Gareth, thank you very much. A leading Welsh entrepreneur says that big changes to inheritance tax rules could devastate family businesses and risks pushing investment overseas. Alex Loven established Networld Sports in Wrexham. It's a global leader in the supply of sports equipment. He said the revised rules around inheritance tax could cost his successors tens of millions of pounds more than previously thought. Here's our business correspondent, Hugh Thomas.
Farmers have dominated the headlines over inheritance tax changes. But from April, it's not just agriculture. Family-run firms of all kinds will feel the impact. Under the current rules, most trading businesses can be passed on tax-free. From April, the first £1 million stays exempt, but anything above that faces a 20% charge. The man who built Networld Sports on the outskirts of Wrexham says the policy could be devastating.
You work your socks off to build something, you don't do it to make a quick buck, and then the government come along and pull the rug from right under you.
Alex Loven built his company into a global brand, but warned the tax will force businesses like his to change course.
Our bill would be in the tens and tens and tens of millions. How impossible to pay. So you suddenly go from planning to grow a business to planning to defend the business from being taken away or being destroyed by a government.
As an example, if your business is worth £5 million and you died today, your family could inherit that estate without paying any tax. But if your business is worth £5 million and you die on or after the 6th of April next year, then they'll face an inheritance tax bill of £800,000. The Treasury says the reforms are fair and will fund public services. They also say most of the relief on business property goes to just a few wealthy estates. Tax experts say the changes haven't cut through to many business owners.
It's very much an ostrich mentality, or it won't happen to me, or I'm going to live forever. The worst case scenario would be someone in their, say, late 30s, 40s, who is killed in a car accident and had no planning at all. And this tax bill will come as a huge shock.
Some business owners like Hugh Watkins have found alternatives to passing it down the family line, like employee ownership models, which allows founders to sell the company to their staff. It also exempts founders from having to pay another type of tax, capital gains, on the money they get from the sale.
We benefited from capital gains relief, and that probably was the, one of the real drivers as far as a taxation point of view is concerned. But each individual, each business will have its own circumstances.
Inheritance tax reform is a policy the government says is aimed at fairness, but one that business leaders say could reshape the future of family firms.
You're watching Wales Today. Still to come in the programme, the future of Wales's professional rugby sides. The Dragons launch a stinging attack on the Welsh Rugby Union, saying they walked out of a meeting with the governing body.
And today has been the coldest day of the autumn so far, with Arctic winds and snow on higher ground. Tonight, a widespread frost with a warning of snow and ice in the southwest. I'll have the latest forecast.
The COVID inquiry will publish its long-awaited judgment on the Welsh response to the pandemic tomorrow. More than 12,000 people in Wales died with COVID between 2020 and August 2024. Well, our political correspondent, Cemlyn Davis, is here. It's a big day tomorrow. Cemlyn, what are we expecting?
Well, this report, Lucy, will look back at some of the big, unprecedented decisions that were taken by politicians that had an impact on all our lives during the pandemic. The inquiry has been looking at the way the various governments in different parts of the UK responded to COVID, and much of what the report will say about Wales is likely to be based on what the inquiry heard when it sat in Cardiff last year and took evidence from a number of witnesses, including the then First Minister Mark Drakeford, the former Health Secretary Vaughan Gething, the current First Minister Lyned Morgan, as well as Welsh Government officials and scientists as well. And what became clear from that evidence was just how much tension there was at times between the Conservative UK government and the Welsh Labour government here during the pandemic. So that's something I'm sure will be discussed in the report. And then what will it say about some of those other key decisions that were taken by the Welsh Government around testing, the use of face masks, the firebreak lockdown, and so on? All areas where Welsh ministers decided to do things their own way.
And do we know what campaigners who lost loved ones during the pandemic have been saying ahead of the report's release?
Yeah, one of the key concerns for them is that the Welsh response will get lost to some extent in this report, and that much of the focus will be on the UK government's actions instead. And that's why there are still some calls for a Wales-specific public inquiry to look specifically at the Welsh government's response. Of course, what the Welsh Government has always said about that suggestion is that only a UK-wide inquiry like this one can put the decisions taken in Wales in their proper context.
Well, we'll have all the details tomorrow. Our political correspondent, Kemlyn Davis, thank you very much. Private cannabis clinics have told the BBC that anxiety and depression are now among some of the most common reasons people are being prescribed the drug in the UK. It's been a legal form of medication for years, but the NHS says the risks associated with it still aren't clear. It's almost never prescribed on the NHS. However, it has emerged that tens of thousands of mental health patients have been getting cannabis on private prescriptions. Will Fife has more.
Every morning before work, John vapes cannabis. Like a growing number of people in the UK, he has a perfectly legal private cannabis prescription given to him because of his mental health.
I'll smoke it before I go into the office. If I think I'm going to have a stressful day, I'll just go outside and just have like a quick hit on the vape pen and come back in.
We get some of the flour and put it in the grinder.
John, who was recently diagnosed with autism, had a mental health breakdown a few years ago.
I remember I'd written a list of all the things that bothered me about myself, like excessive talking to yourself, crying for no reason. I think I got to about 26 different things. And I rang the GP and I was like, I need the help.
He was initially given antidepressants along with therapy, but says he struggled with the side effects. Then a friend recommended he might be eligible for cannabis.
I think if I didn't have the medicinal cannabis, then I'd probably be on about 4 different types of prescription meds. And it's just not the best way to be.
Patients have told us they're getting the same effect from medical cannabis that they were hoping for from antidepressants, but some experts say it could be doing significantly more harm than good, while the NHS says the risks associated with medical cannabis still aren't known.
A lot of stolen haze has gone out, not a lot of heavy gas hitter because that's now out.
Okay. Dr. David Howells is a consultant psychiatrist. He quit his role in the NHS a few years ago and set up the Cardiff Cannabis Clinic with his wife Sam.
I've now prescribed for people with depression and ADHD and OCD and personality disorder and Tourette.
We have patients coming through where they're needing support with housing associations because people have reported the smell of the cannabis and so they've been investigated.
But also through employers. So we have people contacting us saying that their employer has suspended them because of their use of medicinal cannabis.
Other clinics we spoke to also told us police interference was one of the biggest concerns for patients, with staff often having to intervene to stop medication being confiscated. With patient numbers growing rapidly, medical cannabis users hope their choice of treatment will soon be more widely accepted.
Will Fife with that report. On to sport now, and I bet Wales fans are still bouncing from that incredible win last night, Thomas.
Yeah, great night and a hat-trick for Harry Wilson. It was an historic night, a demolition of North Macedonia as Wales scored a staggering 7 goals to secure home advantage in the playoff semi-finals. They'll find out who they'll face in tomorrow's draw. The manager, Craig Bellamy, said the performance was close to perfect. His side is just 2 wins away from reaching the World Cup finals.
And we're confident against anyone. We showed, for 20 minutes against Belgium, the top 10 nation, what we can be like. But then in the semi-final, we'll have to do it for 90 minutes. I know that.
It was amazing. Very, very proud, as always. But last night was very special to finish the campaign with a result like that and to play so well, captain his country, score the hat-trick that he did. Although I still get very nervous watching him. I'm glad when the final whistle goes and he's come through it unscathed, but it was extra special last night with Harry leading out his country.
Wales will face one of these teams at home in the playoff semi-final next March. It's a one-off match. Albania have never reached a World Cup. It could be Kosovo, a team Wales have never played. Bosnia and Herzegovina is another possibility. Or it could be the Republic of Ireland, ranked 62nd in the world, 28 places below Wales. Should Wales win, they'll play one more game 5 days later for a place at the World Cup. They'll find out tomorrow their potential opponents and whether it'll be home or away.
I think I always feel like I have a point to prove. I think I'm someone who can be quite tough on themselves and I just always want to go and perform my best.
It was as close to perfect that I could have asked for. And I don't believe in perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I haven't met one who is. But as a performance-wise, it was as close as we could have hoped for to that.
Many of these fans hadn't seen anything like it. No Wales side scored as many since 1978.
I'm actually really passionate about the team, and I haven't seen them play that well for so long.
I don't think we'll ever see it's like again.
Absolutely incredible. Everything was right.
On paper, an easier semi-final has been secured. But the likelihood is Wales would meet one of the 4 top seeds, Italy, Ukraine, Turkey or Denmark, should they progress to the final. The long qualification process is nearly over. 2 wins are needed to guarantee successive World Cup appearances. To a dramatic development concerning the future of Wales's professional rugby sides now, the Dragons have launched a stinging attack on the Welsh Rugby Union, saying they walked out on a meeting with the governing body. The Dragons say the plans, which involve culling a side, are not viable or desirable. Well, Scrum 5's Gareth Rhys-Owen joins us now. Gareth, a jaw-dropping statement. What more can you tell us?
It's all about control. Who runs the game in Wales and who runs these regions? 10 minutes, barely a meeting. And it's due to the fact that the union proposed a plan where the benefactors, the owners of the regions, would be allowed to make calls when it comes to commercial viability of the regions, ticketing, sponsorship, etc. But when it came to rugby matters, picking the team, when it looked at other things such as sacking and hiring of coaches, they would be making that call on those calls. And basically the Dragons are saying, nah, we're not having that.
Yes, rather forthright statement from the Dragons. I just wonder, have we heard from the union tonight?
Nothing publicly. Privately, they are telling us that this is a red line. It's a non-negotiable. They want the control over the regions. It's really interesting, though, that it's the Dragons who are coming out and saying this publicly, because when you look at the regions and the plans that the Welsh Rugby Union are proposing, there's a cull from 4 to 3, but they want a team in the capital, they want a team in Gwent. That means it's the Ospreys and it's the Scarlets who are the more vulnerable of all the regions. But perhaps from a position of relative power, the Dragons are saying, nah, we're not crossing this line. We really want some control over things when it comes to rugby. I think what is really clear, though, by the tone of this statement, this is just the beginning, and things are going to get pretty ugly pretty quickly.
We'll chat again soon, I am sure. Gareth Rhys-Owen, thank you very much. Some women's football news for you now, and manager Rhian Wilkinson has named the Melbourne City midfielder Laura Hughes, who has been capped once by Australia, in her squad for the upcoming international camp in Spain. Hughes, whose mother is Welsh, is called up for the first time for 2 friendlies, the first against a team which hasn't been confirmed, then it's Switzerland on December the 2nd.
She's made a commitment. I gave her the option to come in and just meet the team and be a training player, and she said, nope, I want to play for Wales. So the paperwork is being done, and it is, from my side, always a trial because you don't just walk onto the national team. But she has had that message, she's clear on it, and she made the decision to fully commit to Wales no matter what.
Rhian Wilkinson there. To the weather now, and we've had a dusting of snow in some places today. Derek's here with all the details. Hiya.
Hi, Thomas Noswetha. Good evening to you. Yes, a real taste of winter today with Arctic winds bringing the first snow of the season. Most of the snow on higher ground, the hills and mountains. More cold weather to come over the next couple of days. In the next 24 hours, we have a Met Office yellow warning for snow and ice in the southwest. Most of the snow on higher ground, 2 to 5 centimetres in places. We could see more snow falling on the Preseli Mountains with travel disruption. The radar shows a stream of showers over the Irish Sea moving north to south into Pembrokeshire. This is known as the Pembrokeshire Dangler. Under the Dangler, it can be quite wet. We've had hailstones in Haverfordwest today, but away from the Dangler, a lot of dry weather. Sunny skies in Montgomery in Powys. So tonight we've got more wintry showers in the far west and the southwest, some of them heavy with hail and snow. Elsewhere, 1 or 2 showers in the north and mid Wales, otherwise dry and clear with a widespread frost. The lowest temperature around -3 Celsius, but staying above freezing on windward coasts. We're still in this cold Arctic air mass tomorrow. That will bring further wintry showers to parts of the west and the southwest. Again, some of them heavy with hail, the snow level tending to rise during the day. Elsewhere, most places dry with more sunshine, just the odd wintry shower in the north. The wind not quite so strong tomorrow, but temperatures still below average. It will still feel cold, no higher than 7 Celsius, 45 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow night, a widespread frost with a few wintry showers, mainly in Pembrokeshire. And then on Friday, a frosty start for many of us, but a decent day, dry and bright. We'll see some sunshine. The wind much lighter as well, so it will feel less cold. Temperatures between 5 and 7 Celsius, maybe up to 8 Celsius in Fishguard. And then over the weekend, we're going to see a change. It's going to turn milder and windier again. Atlantic fronts will bring some rain at times, some showers as well, with some sunny intervals in the mix as well. And temperatures will recover over the weekend, 9 to 11 Celsius in places, but staying cold over the next couple of days. Lucy.
Derek, thank you ever so much. And that is Wales Today. I'll be back with the latest for you after the BBC News at 10. But for now, from Thomas, Derek and all of us on the programme, thanks so much for watching. Hwyl fawr.